Hey guys, just a few days ago I had made a video showing you how to one-shot GRAVEWARD, and this method was shown to me by iKudo, so big shout out to him. I think there were some other people doing it as well, like Mac on Twitch, so that's really awesome. This is a really fun method and I am addicted to doing it. In the video it was just a method to one-shot GRAVEWARD because he doesn't have any immunity and he doesn't have any shield, so it makes it a lot easier. But there is a way to one-shot some of the other bosses that do have shields. And unfortunately this method won't work with the bosses that go immune, like the Ravager, Troy, and Tyrene. But for the bosses that this does work on, it's really fun to do and can give you some good legendary farming. It's probably not as good as GRAVEWARD, but I just wanted to show you guys what else you can do with this method and what all is possible. So the very minimum that you're going to need is one of the Torg Scourge rocket launchers, and for these other bosses with shields you absolutely have to have the elemental versions. I'll show you guys which elemental Scourge works with which boss, but in addition to this rocket launcher you also need the Jacob's Unforgiven pistol. This method is using the switch weapon for the extra critical hit, and this one will do anywhere from 300 to 400 critical hit damage, so that's what you're looking for. So at the very minimum you need those two weapons and it will work, but if you want to help and beef up your critical hit damage even more, you can find other equipment that will help you, like this class mod here gives me plus 45% Jacob's weapon critical hit damage. I'm using Flak, but you can use any character, and all the characters will have a legendary class mod that will have a plus 45% Jacob's weapon critical hit damage. In addition to that, it's a good idea to get your skill tree set up so that you're doing as much critical hit damage as possible. For Flak, you can use the fade away, and when that's triggered you get plus 200%. And from my experience using Flak, it didn't really matter what else I put on, so it's really up to you what you guys prefer. The first boss I want to show you guys that you can melt with this method in addition to GRAVEWARD is the Katagawa Ball boss that you find on Skywell. For this one I use the Corrosive Scourge rocket launcher. This one will do a little over 2700 damage per second, and I've seen some that can get up into the 4000s, but 2700 seems to be plenty and it is definitely sufficient. If you guys don't have a corrosive, then you can use the other elemental rocket launchers. I haven't tried those, but I probably wouldn't try the fire elemental one. For Katagawa Ball, he's a little bit like GRAVEWARD when it comes to the approach and the one shot. You have to be dead center in his critical hit spot, which obviously seems to be his center eye, and so I was just running around the arena and I found a position where he got kind of stuck on a box and he was just kind of shaking, so I took the shot and landed it dead center, and yep, it melted him. I first went into fade away, made sure my shot was lined up, and then fired the rocket launcher, and then quickly switched to the Jacob's Unforgiven pistol. This one shot was not a fluke. I did this multiple times. You just gotta make sure you have a clear shot and he's not wiggling too much. Also, I am online on Mayhem mode 3, so he's at his most difficult to kill, and this still works great. If you are online Mayhem mode 3, you're gonna get around 9,000 XP. If you were offline Mayhem mode 3, you're gonna get about 60,500 XP. The next boss that's great for this method is on Voracious Canopy, and it's one of the bosses you fight on there. It's a mech called GenIVIV. I think out of all the bosses I'm showing you guys in this video, I think this one is one of the better ones to farm because it has ammo vending machines and the other bosses do not. For GenIVIV, I first went in with the Corrosive rocket launcher and went into fade away and shot in her general direction, and then switched to the Jacob's pistol, and the rockets homed in on her and got the critical hit and one-shotted her. And just like the other bosses, this is not an easy one-shot. I noticed that I would have the most success when I would drop in, immediately fire that shot off before she had a chance to move around too much. Also keep in mind that if you're on Mayhem mode 1, 2, or 3 like I am here, you're going to have modifiers in the lobby that are going to greatly help you or penalize you, so you have to pay attention to that. So I used the Corrosive rocket launcher and one-shotted her and it worked great, and I wanted to go in and try some of the other elements on her, so I checked out the cryo next. Here's the stats for the rocket launcher here. It has a 68% cryo efficiency, it does a plus 200 splash damage radius like the other one, and also consumes 4 ammo per shot. Again, same thing, dropped in, went into fade away to increase that critical hit damage, immediately fired a shot off, switched to the Jacobs, and yeah, this one melted her as well. These elemental launchers are killing her so fast, you don't even see the bar go down, it just disappears. So it's possible that a non-elemental Scourge might be enough. I haven't tried it yet. And same thing with her regarding XP and the Katagawa Ball. You are going to be getting around 9,000 XP on Mayhem mode 3 online, and then if you're offline, you're you're going to be getting between 60 and 63,000 XP. For the next boss I'm going to show you guys, you absolutely have to have the shock elemental version of this rocket launcher, and this one's comparable to the corrosive. It's got the same stats except for the shock elemental. Also, I need to mention that it can be really difficult to get these different elemental versions of this rocket launcher. This thing does not drop very often. It's one of the rarer drops, and then trying to get an element on top of that and then the element that you want could be very time consuming. For me, I had to get the community to help me, so massive shout out to Virachi. He sent me one. I accidentally deleted it, so it is lost in the ether, but I swear I don't mod. It came through. He had another one, so thank you guys so much. So on Athenas, you can fight the boss Captain Traunt, and for this one, yeah, you need the shock elemental. I've tried the other elementals. I could not get it to work, so you definitely want this one. Captain Traunt can be really tricky with this method, and I wouldn't recommend him to farm because one thing, there's no vending machines, and that could get annoying, and another is that he moves around a lot, so it could be tough. So he's going to be firing some elemental shots at you, and what I did was waited for him to get about halfway to me, and then I went into fadeaway, took the shot, and then switched to the pistol, and it worked. His critical is on his back with that tank, so you want to fire just above his head, and those rockets honed in on him and melted him. This also works on General Traunt on Desolation's Edge, and I don't have that footage, but if you want to see that footage, I'll have it down in the description. It's on iKudo's channel. Same thing with this boss, Mayhem Mode 3, you're getting 9,000 some odd XP online, and offline you're going to be getting 60,500 XP. Another boss that is meltalicious with this method is Shiv on Covenant Pass. You can use most likely the regular rocket launcher. I went ahead and threw on the fire one, and he just evaporated. If you are Mayhem Mode 3 online, you're going to be getting almost 3,000 XP for him, so not great. And offline, Mayhem Mode 3, you'll be getting around 17k XP. So GRAVEWARD one-shotting is still the best for XP and farming, and GenIVIV comes in second. And these other bosses, they're too tough with this. I probably wouldn't recommend it because it's just not consistent. But this video was just to show you what's possible with these weapons and what all they can do and what bosses they work on. And there might be some bosses that you can one-shot with this method that I didn't cover here, and the ones that don't go into those immune stages. If you guys have any recommendations, let me know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next video.
Like what you see.